guys, summer is over. I can confirm summer is over. Welcome to the channel, welcome back to the channel if you've been here before. Today we're reviewing Mac's actual whip. That's my 2018 Audi S5 Sportback, and I've owned the car nearly 3 years, so I thought it's disgraceful that I haven't reviewed it already. So today we're going to have a look round it. Now, I went for the Sportback instead of the coupe because at heart I'm a middle-aged man. If you hadn't realised already, I'm an old soul. But I also think it looks better than the coupe when you consider it next to its rivals. When you think of the S5 coupe, even if you look at the RS5 coupe, you can compare it to the C63 or the BMW M4, both of which, I'm sorry Audi, this is my honest opinion, look way better. The RS5 coupe is the ugly duckling out of the three. However, the Sportback looks better than its rivals. Take the CLS, take the Grand Coupe, I think the S5 Sportback looks better than both. The sleekness of the roofline, the aggressive grille and the lights, Audi lights look better than its next two rivals in my opinion, and I think it's a very good looking car. Now I'm going to take you for a walk around the whole thing, so let's go have a look. Now I should quickly jump in at this point and say that this specific version is close to the black pack that you can get as an optional extra. This used to be chrome, as did these vents here, so did this, so did the entire window trim and the diffuser. It all used to be chrome, but I just think it looks so much better blacked out. The one thing I would say I would change about this car is the bulkiness of the boot. I know this isn't a thoroughbred race car, but I would like to see it a little bit more condensed. I always think the back ends of S5 look quite thick. We'll go with thick. Apart from the boot, the only thing that I don't like about this car is this crease that runs from the front wheel arch all the way to the rear of the car. And the reason I don't like this is because the crease is so aggressive and puts such a bend in the door panel. That's as far as the window opens. How ridiculous. Anyways, let's do the road test. Understeer, yeah! Moving past that small oversight, which means your £50,000 car cannot open its rear windows, let's get moving and focus on what it's like to drive. Now I know I've owned this car for closing in on 3 years, and I think it's an absolute joy to drive. Let me let this person go because it's very tight. Everything works very well in this car, apart from of course the parking sensors. You've got the brushed metal, you've got the refined stitching, you've got these touch buttons here that feel like a cockpit. Everything works very well. It's very ergonomic. It's very German. Now, you're not going to win any awards for flair in this car, but it does look great. It feels expensive, which is, of course, what you'd hope. The person who's going to own this car is someone called Clive, who's a relatively successful accountant who wants to commute in comfort, be able to burn girl and boy races, and comfortably take the family to Norfolk on a road trip when a global pandemic hits. And I have to say, it does everything very well. The two front seats are very comfortable. You can even get a massage. There's plenty of room in the back, and there's a huge boot for if you do need to go on a road trip. There's even stupid gizmos, which means you can type in your address with your finger, which I have to say only really works when you're stationary, but of course that's the only safe place to do it anyway. The car is also relatively economic compared to its predecessor. I've averaged 25 mpg over the full ownership of this car. I can't imagine what it would be if it was a 4.2 litre V8. I can't imagine me getting more than 15 mpg. This road is so tight. But let's put the economical side aside, the comfort, the room for the kids, the room for the luggage. What happens when Clive has had a bad day at work and he just wants to let rip? Well, he can press this little button here until it reaches dynamic mode. And then the daily commuting car turns into a bit of an animal. And Clive becomes a relatively successful accountant with a sense of adventure. The engine noise increases goes faster, the steering sharpens up. The automatic gearbox will even let you rev higher before it changes gear for you. If you want the manual experience, you can knock this left, and then the car will not change gear until you say so. You can even change down into a gear that's far too low to really push the car's limits. Of course, the majority of the time, if you're in race mode, if Clive is feeling adventurous, he would use the flappy paddles that again can set you up to launch at any given moment. The car is great for that, and I think really that is what the car is going to be used for the majority of the time. This isn't a car that you take to the track. This is a car that when you've had a bad day, you jump in it and forget about your 9-5, forget about your boss, forget about emails, and just absolutely floor it. And it's, of course, with Audi's Quattro system, so you're in fairly safe hands. If you want to be dangerous, and I probably shouldn't tell you this, you can press that button once to turn stability to sport, and if you hold it, it turns it off completely. But if you check this little banner here, you can see what happens if you negligently turn off all the stability controls. Now, calming back down, I'll put you back into efficient to talk about the gearbox. The gearbox doesn't come with Audi's famed dual clutch. It comes with a torque converter based dual clutch gearbox, whatever that means. It means it's not as sharp as the dual clutch, the DSG, that they're famed for. However, you are talking milliseconds. If I show you an example of what it's like in dynamic mode, and I've got time to pull out there. Gear change, gear change, gear change. So you're not really missing out, I wouldn't say too much. As I say, this car isn't a thoroughbred, it's just for someone who wants to enjoy a fast car when they get a moment's space. The Quattro system, while it works well, I have fond memories of leaving cars behind on a snowy hill in Germany. It's not a car that you're going to get the back end of and have fun like you would in a BMW. The Quattro system works well, but it doesn't mean it's going to be exciting all the time. It feels planted through the corners, but the car is 4 meters long and nearly 2 meters wide, so you can imagine it's not a race car. It's got enough power to pull you out of corners, but it's not something that you are going to be drifting around corners. But you have to remember, the car is meant to be sportier than the A5, sportier than the S-Line, but not quite as racy as the RS5. So the car does a brilliant job of being exactly what it's meant to be. The car does 0 to 60 in just over 4.5 seconds with a top speed of up to the limiter and still pulling. So 160 mile an hour on the autobahns and still increasing speed. I was under the impression Audi still had that 155 mile an hour gentleman's agreement with the rest of the German auto manufacturers, but it seems that this car can go faster than that. Now, I've absolutely loved owning this car. As a daily, it ticks all boxes. I can't think of anything that would be better. But it's not a thoroughbred. I wouldn't call it a driver's car. It's fast enough to shock family and friends, but not to scare fellow petrol heads. It's fast enough to burn all the girl and boy racers and the majority of everyone on the road, but you wouldn't take it to a track day. I am going to miss it though, but there we have it. The Audi S5 Sportback, otherwise known as Sabrina. The perfect daily